Ladies and gentlemen, it is Hump Day! Welcome to Wednesday. This is Real Racers Never Quit, event number 5. It is going to be GTE cars at Interlagos. We got about 13 minutes before we go over to qualifying. It's women's and here along with Samil Arura and Linus Brostrom. Linus, I'm going to come to you first. Well, this is a little bit different from the night skippies, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's about 3-4 times as long, about 3-4 times as fast, and about 3-4 times, well, 3-4 times smaller grid. So it's going to be different in every single way possible.
And about 3,000 times the viewership.
Pretty much, yeah.
And let's say we got Samil here as well, and well, so welcome to Team Redline. Welcome to Wednesday night and GTE cars. These guys are running in these BMW GTE machines, and after what we saw Monday, of course, they were running Formula 3 cars. Last Friday, V8 supercars. The GTE is that nice little medium ground, shall we say?
Yeah, it really is. Firstly, thank you so much, Will. Thanks for getting me in here. And yeah, it should be good fun for all the drivers, considering the fact that, as you mentioned, that they're switching cars all too quickly, as we see a big accident on the screen there. It should be good for the drivers. Adaptability, you can say, is the name of the game. It is gold dust here over here in the Team Redline Real Racers Never Quit series. So just how quickly the drivers can adapt from the different cars will prove to be a pivotal factor in deciding who wins today's event.
Yeah. And we are here today running at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. That is for those of you that actually care about. It's called Interlagos. It is that track that Juan Pablo Montoya in 2001 made that bold move over Michael Schumacher in towards turn number 1. It's that track that over the years we've seen so much great racing here, Linus, on iRacing, but it's one that it's a track of many tales because you can make the move down into the center S, you can think about it down into turn number 5, you can then think about it at the end of the infield section, but it's one that is also going to be very technical for these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, it is. You got long straightaways, some hard braking points, chicanes, fast sweeping turns, some slower turns, and a lot of overtaking opportunities as we see more cars getting together here. It's you can overtake in a lot of places, but so you'll have to be on defense at all times if you have somebody behind you, and it's just going to be racing all the way through the field for the whole race, I believe.
Yeah, and as I say, we're going to give you some live footage in about, just looking at my watch, about 5 minutes time from now. Yeah, we see a car go up and over there on our feed that you can't yet see, but that's the reason why we kind of wait for a moment, Samil, because these drivers are practicing. They only have a certain amount of time to practice here, and we don't want to embarrass the drivers by showing all of their flaws.
Absolutely. I mean, we all know the shenanigans of practice, how drivers can make mistakes that may look absolutely childish. But in the end, of course, this is the time where drivers perfect their abilities, perfect their skills, and literally practice all the braking points, how to manage the car, how to manage the fuel, the tires. I mean, not that they'll need to do a lot of that, considering the races are only 20 minutes long. But again, it's just the time to perfect your skills, perfect every single aspect of your driving for this weekend, and be prepared for a very, very crucial qualifying, because on this very track, it's quite hard to pass in certain areas.
So we're going to give you some footage in just about 4 minutes from now as Samil actually is having a look at this racetrack. It's one that is of two very different forms. The first part, we're at turn number 12 on the racetrack, down through the start finish line, down towards turn number 5 on track, that's all about straight line speed. The middle sector is all about how that car can handle when they are working through the mechanical and aero grip.
Yeah, it really is. It's quite a diverse track. I mean, it may seem to be quite a small one, but the kind of variations that we have in just this very track makes it quite an entertaining one and quite a diverse one as well. And the last sector is all about power. But remember, the important part here is all the drivers will be on exactly the same cars and exactly the same setups. So this should be even more fun to watch, because now that all the drivers will be on an equal footing, only the true quality will come out. And as they say, the cream rises on top of the cup, and we will see the best of the best battle it out for the lead.
Yeah, and in fact, we will bring you some footage, say, in about 3 minutes from now. Our first look here at Interlagos. And Linus, well, these drivers, they've got a lot of preparation that they need to do here over the next 10 minutes. Get themselves ready for qualifying. 2 laps of qualifying they'll have to do, and that's going to be a closed course qualifying. So basically, it's a case of close course, you go as fast as you can, but if you mess up, if you go wide, you get an off-track penalty. That's going to be you done for that qualifying lap.
Yeah, it's basically one or, well, you get 2 shots, but if you get the slightest bit of an off track, your lap is disqualified. And obviously some of these guys like Max Verstappen and Lando Norris will have a lot of time on this sim compared to some others, so they might have a little bit of an advantage. But then again, I don't think many of these guys are used to driving these cars in particular, and especially with this setup. So whoever's been spending the most time on the sim today will obviously have the advantage. But at the moment, we're seeing over half the field within a second of each other, so it's definitely going to be about keeping it mistake-free all the way through the lap. And
it's like you're more than like escaping 1 second brackets.
Well, not really, but you know, if half the field is within a second, they are. We can have the 2 second bracket if you want.
We can.
That's about 40 cars, so within 2 seconds. So every 100th of a second around this qualifying lap will definitely be important.
What we are going to do is talk quickly to some of the people down over at Team Redline. We've got Antonio Felix da Costa here. We've got Ati Kurkov, who, of course, is doing all the hard work behind the scenes. We've got Max Verstappen here. Max, I'm hoping that I'm not interrupting you right now, but you had great success over in Formula 3 on Monday. What about GTEs on Wednesdays?
Hopefully pretty much the same. But I don't know. This is a track where the lap times are super close. So yeah, it's like I said, it's not going to be easy. But yeah, I just hope to have a good qualifying, and then it's all about just staying in the tow in the race.
Antonio Felix da Costa, hello, welcome to Wednesday. You're currently 19th place in practice. Hello. Yeah. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so I got some new hardware. New steering wheel just arrived like an hour before all this. So I've been plugging everything in, and I literally got everything plugged in just now. So I'm doing my first laps, and it feels, I almost span. It feels a little bit different, but it's all good. I feel like there's a lot of potential, so hopefully it'll get a bit closer today.
And of course, we can actually see at this stage that your microphone seems to be a little bit better here today. Is that part of the upgrade?
You should have told me that before, right? That's an easy fix.
Yeah. But before we let you go, of course, it's going to be 2 long races today. What's your thoughts, being P number 19, about getting yourself up through the field?
No, hopefully qualify near the top 10 and have some clean races. That's all I want. You know, we've been trying to, not educate, it's not the right word, but really trying to tell all the drivers to behave. You know, obviously we all want to win, but there's a lot of cool fights in the midfield as well, and we want to put on a good show, so hopefully some good and clean racing.
Ati Kurkov is here as well. Ati, your job is quite literally spanking people and telling them to behave. What did you say after Monday night's race, which might be appropriate here today in GTE world?
Well, we have gone through all the accidents from Monday, and we analyzed everything to see who needed to be penalized and who doesn't. There were a lot of incidents, of course, and we took some of the drivers out and we gave them an official warning. Someone are on a probation. So yeah, let's see if they behave today. Today damage is on, so for sure they need to be more careful. Only we're driving with a field of 45 drivers today, and it's going to be a tight track. So let's see how this works out today.
And as you as a steward, how is this Interlagos track going to pose you some difficulties? Because of course, the Centre S turn 5 go to Seoul, then had to turn number 7 on track. They're all potentially really difficult corners. How will you base that race stewarding here today?
Well, it's hard to follow everything. Of course, we're going to look at the main fights. Of course, turn 1 is going to be interesting with the first 2-3 corners. If you go there side by side, it's a nice recipe for contact. But in the penultimate corner, the fast left-hander, I don't know the name, that one is on cold tires, quite tricky, so I expect a little bit of problems there in the first lap. So hopefully the drivers will figure that out themselves and they can behave. And let's see if we can get a bit more cleaner race than last Monday.
Well, thank you to Ati Kirchhoff, to Antonio Felix da Costa, and to Max Verstappen.
See you later.
See you later, guys. We're going to head back up to the sanity of the Racebot TV broadcast booth there. And, well, we are about 7 minutes away from qualifying, Samuel. And again, these drivers have only had maximum 1 hour of notice about what track they're racing at here today. How do you prepare for a track like Interlagos? Because it is a unique track at altitude, and turning a lap in clean air is one thing, racing is another.
Well, absolutely, Will. The challenges of getting to know the car and the track just at such a short notice are in fact immense. But what will help these drivers is the fact that their past experiences may count for some of them. Let's say Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, they have driven on this track in real life among many other drivers over here. So that experience certainly counts, and along with that, it's all about getting the maximum out of your practice sessions. Remember, as you rightly mentioned, we only have 1 hour for the drivers for the preparation time for the race. So they need to extract as much as they can from this very period of time, because of course it's not about having as many resources as you can, it's about being more resourceful. And with everyone having the same setup, the same car, the same time and the same track, it's all about how much you can extract from that very hour in that very BMW M8 GTE car. And the one who can do it best will certainly be the most prepared. But remember, it's not only about being the most prepared. What happens on the track and what happens in the race can be entirely different.
Linus, I pulled you away from practicing in a NASCAR to go and race at Bristol. Is this going to be better than you practicing at Bristol?
Well, I mean, turning a lap there takes about 15 seconds, and 2 hours of that I think would have been too much. I still get about half an hour practice, so I think this will make my evening a bit more entertaining, and I'll be a bit less dizzy going into that race later on tonight.
But we are about 5 minutes away from qualifying here on round number 5, event number 5 of Real Racing Never Quit. We are in Interlagos. We are running in the GTE cars. Here's a current look at our track conditions. It is currently 20 degrees Celsius in the air, 25 degrees as your track temperature, of 35% humidity, and wind speeds of about 2 miles an hour. I want to say thank you to Ismail at trackcamsforgourmets.com, as we are going to do a lap on board, shall we? I was going to say with Max Verstappen, but it just pulled off at the side of the racetrack. So actually, let's go and have a look at Nicky Katzberg, because he is on track right now. Let's see a little bit of Racebot TV fan immersion as we go on board with Nicky Katzberg in the number 27 car. And of course, Katzberg, as we all know, has a driver reservation as he works towards the start-finish line. Back live here on Racespot TV. 2 minutes left of practice. Nicky Katzberg, well, apparently he hadn't updated his graphics yet, so he's still got a demo reservation here going on, Linus. And we saw that one in Formula 3 that he literally just pulled off at the side of the racetrack on Monday.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, if you're not very dedicated to iRacing, maybe you prioritize other things, but I think today he's definitely not going to pull over. I think being in 6th place currently here in practice, he's definitely got a chance to win this, so unless he gets crashed out, I think we'll see him go till the end today.
Augustin Canapino currently leads away in terms of practice right now, and Augustin Canapino has been successful in all of the races we've had to date, in Formula 3, in GTEs, as well as in the V8s that we had. He's one of those drivers that seems to be a good all-rounder here, Samil, and he wants to get himself some race victories here tonight, but consistency in terms of a quote-unquote championship is always important, especially as I'm looking through to see where Max Verstappen is. He's only in P4 right now.
Consistency really is one of the most important parts, because, let's say, the teams always prefer to have drivers that are more consistent, that can deliver you the results on a more regular basis than the ones who can just bring out one incredible result in every 10 races. So yeah, for Augustin Canapino, as with every other driver, it will be very critical, in fact, for them to maintain this level of consistency, not only during the races but also during the entire course of the championship. That is exactly why Max Verstappen, with his consistency, is far off in the distance, leading this championship by, well, quite a big number of points actually. He's with 690 points at the moment, and the second place driver, Kelvin van der Linde, is second with 542. So that's just a testament of how consistent Verstappen is, and if someone like Augustin Canapino needs to be the winner of this championship, I mean, of course it seems a bit tough at this moment, he will need to develop that very kind of consistency that Verstappen and the others seem to have at this moment in time.
Yet practice is over. We are time to go qualifying here. 2 laps of qualifying. That's all you get here, Samil. And closed course qualifying, that means that these drivers are going to be running by themselves on track. No draft, no nothing. Just how fast can you go?
Absolutely. That is the best part about qualifying. It just reminds me about Ayrton Senna's old laps, speaking about Sao Paulo, because Ayrton Senna was one driver who used to give it all out in qualifying, and those laps that he did in the McLaren in the 1988 and 1989 season was so entertaining to watch, and that is something similar to what we can watch over here, because in qualifying all the drivers go all out, they give it all that they have, and they are absolutely flat out, and the kind of aggressive driving that we see here on a single lap can be quite hard to find during the races. So if you just think that qualifying is just putting in some laps, it's all dull, it's all boring, think again. This is probably one of the more exciting sessions that we do have anywhere else.
Let's go on board who are driving. Actually, let's go on board with Einchen Guven in the number 3 car right now, because he is working through that middle sector on that outlap. And of course, Einchen Guven, we're going to see him actually in a couple of days' time in the virtual Porsche Mobile 1 Super Cup here, Linus. And he is going to be honing his iRacing skills over the next couple of days.
Yeah, he'll want to get as much time as possible in here on iRacing, and racing in BMW today obviously doesn't help for a Porsche race, but still it's experience on the sim, so that's definitely going to help him out a little bit as he gets a pretty decent run here through turns 1 and through the first chicane, good on the curb there. So a good start to the lap, but we'll have to see how that stacks up time-wise.
I was actually thinking whether or not BMW or Porsche are going to try and sue me after making that comment, but Einchen Guven running in Porsche Virtual Mobile 1 Super Cup this coming Saturday. Of course, they're running in BMW M8 GTE cars here today. A bit of a difference actually, Samuel, because actually these BMW M8 GTEs, they're far more stable around a racetrack like this.
Yeah, in fact, these cars are actually quite fast and quite stable, as you mentioned as well. It's a shame that they won't really be racing in WEC anymore, but thankfully we do have them on iRacing, and all these drivers, they will be getting a good taste about what this car is like. I think that's the beauty of sim racing. These kind of cars that you may not be able to drive in real life, you do get a good chance to race them right here. And the stability of the BMW, of course, will have a major impact, because in comparison to the other GTE cars, this one, as you rightly mentioned, is more blunted, is more on the ground. So a lot of mechanical grip involved, a lot of downforce involved as well, and that definitely does change your driving style just a little bit. It should be interesting to see how the drivers chase each other and how they race, because Interlagos, it can be quite tricky to make moves in certain places, but as we all know, as we all have seen, if you're daring enough, if you're bold enough, you can make a move almost anywhere at this track.
Augustin Canapino goes past this for the time being then. Actually, no, Verstappen goes past this. 129.368 then for Max Verstappen. He gets that top step in qualifying right now. We're going to go on board with him actually for his second lap here today on that BMW M8 GTE car. He's an 8-time Formula 1 race winner here, Linus, and he has got pole position by almost a quarter of a second.
Yeah, that's a very good time he put in there. Obviously nowhere near the practice times, but they had some draft and had a lot of laps to do there. And Stoffel Van Dorn as well went off on his first lap, so he's only got one more chance to do it. But good lap from Verstappen. If he can improve on that, I don't really see anybody beating him, because he's so far out compared to the other fast guys that I think that's going to be the pole time.
Yeah, and that gap, as you say, between Max Verstappen and Augustin Canapino is currently just under a quarter of a second. This is the shortest track that actually we're going to see the drivers running at over the course of this 6-race series, this 6-event series here on iRacing. And as part of Team Redline, real races never quit, because it is such a short track here around Interlagos. Verstappen past start-finish line any moment soon. Augustin Canapino goes fastest. What about Verstappen? He's back up to the top of the timing stands then with a 129.020 Smil.
That is a good lap. How many times have we heard people saying Max Verstappen fastest in Interlagos? Quite a few times that is. And Lando Norris also posting quite a good lap, just about 1.5 tenths away from Max Verstappen, 1.7 actually, and that's quite a decent lap. However, it seems to be quite hard to beat Verstappen at this moment. He just seems to be flying in that BMW. People are coming close, but beating him will take quite a special effort. In the practice, we did see Nicky Katzberg getting a good lap time, but yeah, seems to be that Verstappen is far and away from everyone else at this moment.
Yeah, we're going to get some reactions from Max Verstappen just now. Max, pole position!
Yeah, gracias. Yeah, it was not bad. I think that was actually quite a clean lap. I surprised myself there.
You got pole over Lando, of course. You and Lando, they're the Twitch best friends, so on and so forth. How does it feel, though, to be out Lando in terms of qualifying?
Yeah, it's emotional, actually. Brings, it was good. Lando is a good driver in real life, but also on the sim. So I didn't expect anything else.
The race leading from the front. Can you do the double here again today?
You can't pull away because the draft effect is too strong around the track. So it's all about just keeping it clean and try to create a gap to other people at one point, because people will try to pass. So then it's just about just keeping it clean.
Well, thank you to Max. We've got Antonio Felix da Costa here as well. Antonio, how's your qualifying?
Yeah, it's okay. 10th for now. Yeah, I didn't touch my sim almost all day, so pretty happy with that. 6 tenths off Max, and I didn't do a second lap, so it's promising.
Max is just talking about how hard that draft is going to be in the race. Are you going to try and take advantage of that?
By staying first, yes.
That's talking to Antonio.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I understood Max.
I also understood Max.
Okay, well, that's just me being a ridiculous bad commentator.
Oh, mate, for sure. I'm going to draft the hell out of everyone. I'll see you in 3 laps, Max.
Okay, can't wait. Please don't spin.
Yeah, I'm honestly trying not to today. That's my goal.
Well, we'll see you in about 25 minutes time. That is some of the Team Redline guys. They go back to some form of sanity here on the RaceSpot TV broadcast booth. Max Verstappen saying that qualifying aided him there, Linus, but the draft, we always know it in Interlagos, the draft is always going to be important.
Yeah, it definitely is, and especially coming down into, I believe that will be turn number 4, down at Desquida do Lago, or whatever, however you pronounce that. That's going to be a main overtaking
Are you going to make
opportunity
us
here.
do official Brazilian names on this broadcast? Is that what you're trying to make me do?
I don't know, I have no idea.
Dear Google, Interlagos, track
Should
map.
I Google Interlagos English track map then?
Yeah. But Samir, we're about 90 seconds away from the end of qualifying here. We're running on board Matt Campbell, who's yet to set a qualifying time. And the draft is so important here, but track position actually is also important.
It absolutely is, and that is exactly why this qualifying session is super crucial. I mean, it's not that Interlagos is impossible to pass on. There are a couple of opportunities, like turn 1 into the center S's and the second to last corner. The last corner, I'm sorry. But to be realistic, making moves over there with such a high quality of drivers can be super challenging, because these drivers, they're of such a high quality, they know the lines to take, they know when to block you, they know how to defend, and they know exactly how to make sure that you don't pass. So making moves over here is going to be very tricky, but as I said previously, if you're bold enough, if you're risky enough, you can possibly make it happen.
Let's run yourself through then your starting grid for this. The first of event number 5. It's Real Races Never Quit at Interlagos. And we start at the front of your field. And it is going to be Max Verstappen leading the way with a qualifying time of 1 minute 29.020. Lando Norris makes it an all Formula One front row of the grid. Augustin Canapino in 3rd place, with Franco Colapinto in the 4th position. And then P number 5 will be Bruno Spengler. And Chen Guven in P number 6. Sheldon van der Linde, the highest of the two brothers, in P number 7. Nicky Katzberg in P number 8. 9th place will go to Dries Vantoor. And then Antonio Felix da Costa rounds out your top 10. Larry Tenvoort in 11th place. Kelvin van der Linde in P number 12. 13th place will go to Richard Verschoor, and Richard Westbrook in 14th place. And Jan Badenborough rounds out your top 15. The remainder of those times coming up on your screen for you right about now. I know Linus is that calm before the proverbial storm here. What are your final thoughts?
Well, it's big grid here, about 40 plus cars, and going into that turn number 1, it's going to be all about patience, and I expect to see at least a couple of cars getting together, because as we know, these cars are very big, so it's bound to be some sort of contact. And coming down into that turn number 4 at the end of the straightaway, I think we're going to see some pretty bold overtaking moves here on the first lap.
And Samil, this is the first time you've commentated on Team Redline's Real Races Never Quit. How's it been for you so far?
Well, indeed it is my first time, and I hope it's the first of many. It's been good so far, and thanks to you guys, I feel very comfortable to gel in and get a hang of everything. But hopefully, if we get a good first race, it is literally like the cherry on top of the cake. Should be good fun with Max Verstappen and Lando Norris in 1st and 2nd. All I can say is expect fireworks.
Fireworks will be the king of the day here. I almost expect it to be, as that pace car is going to set off then from the middle of the racetrack, Linus, because we've got half a pace lap before we go green.
Yeah, to cut down the race times for the iRacing races around here, they start the pace lap about halfway around the track, so hopefully everybody will be caught up before we go green. But there is over 40 cars here as the pace car starts to roll, and these guys to go side by side through these turns. I just hope they don't get together, but with all of them being real, well, race car drivers, hopefully they'll be able to do that.
That's racing car drivers. They are going to try and push as fast as they possibly can. By the way, live timing and scoring will be available. Visit racesport.tv/timing. That's racesport.tv/timing. That will be available throughout of the course of both of these races. And Samir, right now, the drivers, they're going to get packed up as they exit Gincourt, and they'll head themselves down towards the start finish line.
Yes, they will. This is going to be absolutely incredible. All these cars side by side, and the big BMWs racing on the track here into Lagos. It should be insane as they approach the final corner here. And now this is where it's about time. We're just about to go in as we see. Oh, is that someone passing the pace car over there? That's Lando Norris trying to pass the pace car. That's a bit strange.
For a minute, yeah, we did. And that is a little bit gamemanship, shall we say, between Lando Norris and the pace car and Max Verstappen as well. It's Verstappen and Norris on the front row of your grid right now as they just work themselves through. This should be the boxes, the last part of the track before you get towards the start-finish line. Those drivers are about to start to let it rip then in these BMW GTE cars. Green flag in the air. We are racing. Race number 1 of 2 here. And trouble at the back of the racetrack already. But at the front of your field, it is the driver of Verstappen who continues to lead the way as the remainder of those drivers head themselves through turn number 1 and turn number 2 through the center S's and now down into turn number 5. This is Code of Soul right now, Linus.
We had Philip Nasser spinning as well at the bottom of the chicane, but up at the front, it's a very, very good start there. Max Verstappen driving away with the lead ahead of Lando Norris. He's got a bit of a gap, but I think Norris will be able to keep up there. We got some side-by-side action going on here around P number 10. I believe that's right behind Sheldon van der Linde. That's Richard Verschoor on the outside of Kelvin van der Linde, but Kelvin's able to hold on to that, and Antonio Felix da Costa is dropping back a few positions here as well.
Yes, we're going to get a look on board with Antonio Felix da Costa in just one moment's time. As, by the way, yeah, I got it wrong. Code of Soul's turn number 3. We're looking at the front of your field. There's Verstappen looking for the rear of Max Verstappen right now as he exits Yuan Cao towards the start-finish line on lap number 1 here at Samil, and he's got himself a nice, good lead here. About a second, about 2/3 of a second over Lando Norris.
Absolutely, Verstappen having a very good first lap, and that was absolutely frantic in the back over there. We saw so many drivers crashing out, and a lot of them included Harry Tinkel, Ferdinand Habsburg as well. I think Sergio said the camera was involved in that as well. Big accident that we saw right after the race started, but at the front it's all clean and all smooth sailing for Lando Norris and Max Verstappen as we see some side-by-side action over here.
We're on board with Neil Vergen in the number 8 car. He's a Formula 4, the USA champion, as he goes alongside. This is Sasha Fentrax in the battle for P number 19 on track, and just ahead of him is Jovan Urit in the number 43 car. Lots of battling going on. Look at how close this mid-pack is right now, Sunil.
That is absolutely incredible. Door-to-door racing action we see here as the drivers go slightly wide. Look at that. There are almost 3-4 cars in the space of not even half a second, around a couple of tenths. That is absolutely incredible. And with these GT cars, that is exactly what you get to see. So some close racing. One car spinning out I see over there as we ride on board with Neil Vergen. And back there we're seeing a lot of action. Door-to-door, side-by-side racing. One driver trying to go down the inside. I'm not sure about who that was, but the move was blocked out. As we see a driver heading off, that is Ayanchan Guven, the driver we spoke about a lot before the race, and he is out in the grass. That is far from ideal for him, isn't it, Will?
Yeah, we're getting a replay on board. We're actually going to get a replay looking at Ayanchan Guven. That's down into Yunsao, the number 3 car of Ayanchan Guven. The thing is, Linus, you make a mistake there. It takes so long for you to get back onto the racetrack because Yunsao is such a fast corner that you can't just put that car back onto the racing line.
No, you lose that speed all the way up the hill and all the way down the front straightaway, and with it being an uphill as well, you really rely on that momentum. So that's definitely going to hurt you, as we saw Richard Versure there going off as well at the bottom of the chicane. Now he's getting passed by some more cars. He's got some front end damage to that car, so he's definitely drove into somebody as he goes wide again, letting people by. So his race is pretty much over for now, unfortunately.
We're now on board Lando Norris down in the number 48 car versus Max Verstappen. It's all about Formula One drivers at the front of your field here, Linus, as they work themselves through this middle section of the racetrack. And actually, Lando is within half a second of Max Verstappen right now as they work through Yuan Sao on lap number 3 of this race. It's only a 12-lap event here, so you got to get a move on. And Lando Norris right on the coattails of Verstappen. We talked about that draft when we talked to him a moment ago on RaceSpot TV, and he said the draft is the one thing that might haunt me in today's races.
Yeah, they don't have the DRS and all the stuff that they have in F1, so he's got he's got a bit of an advantage here because the car behind can't get some extra speed, but still that draft is definitely going to help, especially Lando Norris and maybe Agustin Canapino as well, if they're close enough. But he's doing a good job so far, and he's actually opened that gap up to Norris again. He's now going to have to defend from Agustin. He's right on the back of Lando, but he's not going to make a move this time, as we saw him go past the lap car there as well that just came out of the pits. So it's these 3 cars up front, and if Max can just open that gap up a little bit more, I think he'll be on a pretty safe distance. But for now, he's Lando Norris is definitely in the draft, but Augustine is right there.
Yep, looking on board with Nicky Katzberg right now in the number 27 car. Well, he claimed on Monday he had a dyno reservation here, Samil. He's still running that number 4 or 12 here on this race, and he's got himself Dries Vanthoor just behind him. This is a battle going on for P number 5 on track right now, and the gap is about half a second as they work towards the end of the lap.
Well, if having a Dunner reservation makes you faster, I guess I'm getting one right now. A good racing there by Nicky Katzberg. He's doing quite a good job so far, but Dries Vanthoor is right on his tail. He sniffs an opportunity here, Dries Vanthoor, and he can smell the blood right in front of him. He can see that Nicky Katzberg can get in a little bit of pressure, and he'll be looking for exactly that opportunity to make a move and to bounce on him and to get 5th place. Elsewhere, it's been a good race. He's going down the inside. Dries Vanthoor, he makes the move, goes down the inside, and Vanthoor sees that opportunity and gets into 5th place, or does he? They go side by side past the Senna S's. Now for Red Imposter. This is absolutely stunning racing over here as Nicky Katzberg defends his heart out for the battle for 5th place.
And there's a wonderful, oh my word, all the way down to the inside, through the back straightaway. They get back on track down towards turn number 5. But that one, Samir, was really close. This is Bruno Spengler, Nicky Katzberg, and Sheldon van der Linde in the battle right now.
Well, if there's one company tagline that defined my expressions for this moment, it would be McDonald's. I am loving it. They're going absolutely wild over here. 2 wide and 3 wide for a particular time over there as well. And they went on the grass too. So this is absolutely stunning. Some incredible racing that we're seeing here between all these 3 drivers as we now see Dries Vanthoor under a bit of pressure. Well, this is epic, isn't it?
Great racing going on track right now. And we're only halfway through our first of 2 races here, Linus. This is what Team Redline's Real Races Never Quit is all about. Great racing drivers from around the world going at it in battles, and today it's all about GTE.
It really is, and we had a bit of an incident there on the infield. Guido van der Gaard, Martin Kodrick, and a couple of others. They were racing, well, nose to nose, backwards through the grass for a bit there. That was pretty interesting to see, but I think most of them got going again, so I don't know if we can get a replay of that, maybe.
Sheldon van der Linde just pulled off, so as long as it just happens to Sheldon van der Linde. So we're going to have a look here on from up above here, Linus. He was battling with his brother, Kelvin van der Linde. Well, they came in towards turn number 1, and actually Sheldon just pulled off.
That's that was really weird. See if I can figure out what happened there, because I don't think he got any sort of penalties or anything. He was slow up the hill, so not sure what happened there actually.
Kelvin van der Linde runs in P number 7 in that number 1 car right now. Of course, the ADAC GT Masters champion.
I see what happened. He lost his car coming up the hill and he smashed the outside wall.
So that would have been what started that then. He hit himself in the exit on Yun Sao, down towards the start finish line, all we saw was the back end there, Linus.
Yeah, that's it wasn't a very hard hit, but it's just plain concrete there. So I think that destroyed his car, and well, he just had to let his brother go and get on with this top 5 battle, unfortunately. But so sad ending there for Sheldon. He had a great race so far, but battle for the top 5 is still going, and as you see, they've spread out a bit here for the top 3 as well. Augustine still chasing down Lando, but Max has got that about second lead now, a bit more than a second actually, so looks like he's gonna get this win.
Yeah, Verstappen leads by 1.2 seconds over Lando and Norris, but there's battle going on here, Samuel, between P number 2, Lando Norris, and P number 3, Augustin Canapino. You can just see as they work through the back straightaway, that gap comes down to about 2.5 tenths per second, but the middle section is where Augustin Canapino is going to start to lose out. Lando Norris, of course, he runs in Formula 1, he's a Renault Euro Cup and Formula 3 champion. Augustin Canapino is a Turismo Catarrera and a Super TC2000 champion.
Well, we've got quite a few accolades over here with all the drivers. But yeah, speaking of this battle, as you rightly mentioned, Augustin Canapino just losing out a slight bit in the middle sector, but in the straights, in the long first straight that we have over there, he just closes in a little bit, and the reason for that is the slipstream, because as Max Verstappen rightly mentioned before this race, when you get the draft, you get a massive advantage over here, and that can definitely help Augustin Canapino make a move down the inside or maybe around the outside of Lando Norris if he's bold enough. Remember guys, this probably is the last race that Lando Norris will race before he gets bald, before he shaves his head off. So he'll be looking for quite a good result over here, but so far he's under tremendous pressure from Augustin Canapino, just 4 tenths behind him. He gets close enough on the braking, but just not close enough to make a move, as we see Max Verstappen just slightly pulling away. These guys will have to do something special to get back to Max, because the more they battle, the more Max will say, alright guys, see you, bye-bye. That's going to happen.
And there's a look at your top 8 down at the bottom of your screen right now. Verstappen leads by 1.3 seconds. There's going to be 3 race wins in a row if you manage to make this one work here, Linus. You'll see the rest of the top 8 at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, it's a great run for him right now with all these races, and leading by about almost 1.5 seconds now. He's definitely got it made for him so far, and if these guys get into battle, there's nothing that's going to stop Max Verstappen. Obviously, it's coming up to lap a few cars here now. We know, especially on iRacing, that can be a bit tricky, but shouldn't be too much of a problem here today. Behind these two as well, we got Bruno Spengler, but he's dropping about 1 to 2 tenths per lap, and then behind him we still have that battle going on between Nicky Katzberg and Dries van Thor for P number 5, where Kelvin has dropped off a little bit. So no major battles going on here in the top 7 or 8, unfortunately.
I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way here, Linus. This isn't like what we saw in Formula 3 a couple of days ago. And I don't want to, because I know that we've got friends at BMW watching us probably right now. This isn't as fun as Formula 3, is it?
Well, Formula Racing has its pros, obviously. It's a bit faster, you can turn a bit quicker, you can make some bolder moves, but the thing with an open wheel car is you can't really bump people, so once we get down to the wire, we might see
they bump each other.
Well, I mean, you can do it easily, but you don't really want to smash each other if you want to make it to the end, which you can do in these cars, but it doesn't seem like they're too keen on doing that just yet. Still got 4 laps to go though, so anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but we've been seeing Max and Lando smashing each other in these Formula 3 cars like they're best buddies. That's the only way I can say that with keeping the YouTube PG content going on. We have just seen Stefan Van Dorn, by the way, losing a couple of positions. He's in a big battle going on right now. This is P number 19 on track, and Van Dorn has lost out here, and he gets contact once, twice, and Van Dorn is out of the race.
My goodness, Stoffel Van Dorn almost immediately getting out of the race as we ride on board with him. Look, he's trying to go around the outside just a little bit, trying to stay in line. We see 2 cars coming down his inside, and now this is where all the action takes place. He just gets bumped, he bumps someone, or no, Oh yeah, he makes contact, immediately runs off, and boom, off he goes. Like a magician say, bye-bye, I'm off. So that's Stoffel Van Dorn gone, but this battle over here that we see on the screen is heating up. It's all getting really exciting as we see the drivers just really push the track limits of the car here, of Interlagos. And we're riding on board with Sasha Fenetras. He's involved in the battle with Job Van Uyther for P12. He's trying to make a move down the inside, trying for the dummy, goes to the outside now. Door-to-door racing over here. Fenetras around the outside. This could be his opportunity. Go side by side, wheel to wheel, past the Senna S's. Who's got the edge? It is Sasha Fenetras who makes the move, and he is up into P12.
He is, and what a great move there by the All Japan Formula 3 champion of 2019 there. Sasha in the number 36 car over the number 43 down in towards Senna S. We talk about overtaking opportunities. That is one key opportunity to make a move. We go on board, by the way, with Daniel Morad. He's a former BMW Italy champion, and he's got Matt Campbell just ahead of him right now, Linus.
He does. He's only gained a position so far in this race, 20th up to 21st. 21st up to 20th, I mean, and well, he's trying to chase. He's actually just lost that position to Campbell, so he's trying to get that back, but it seems like he's struggling so far. He's not really able to keep up, so the next car behind him is John Edber, so you're kind of starting to spread out back here as well. Unfortunately, no real big battle is going on, but obviously he still has a chance to get a bit further up the field.
Worth noting here as well, Linus, that your top three drivers have not moved at all in this race. P number 1, Verstappen. P number 2, Norris. P number 3, Canapino. They are as this race started.
They really are, and Canapino is all over Norris though, and he's been that close 1, 2 or 3 tenths for pretty much the whole race, and he's there. He's just not able to get that run to make a bit of a move. I don't know if he's waiting. He's got about a lap and a half to go now, so have to keep an eye on him, see if he makes a bit of a dive there coming into the Senna Houses for the last time now, but that's still about a minute away, so have to see how that plays out. But I would not expect to see him just sit behind Lando Norris without making at least one attempt at it.
And Samil, with a lap and a half now officially to go in this race, Canapino versus Norris. This is the real battle then going on for second and third place because Verstappen is so far ahead.
Yeah, Verstappen has literally run away with the race as we now see Canapino get really close, getting too close for comfort actually, and this is pretty much the last few chances that Canapino has over here. It's now or never. Patience is a virtue, they say, but you can't have any more patience when you've got only one lap left and only a handful of opportunities to try and make the move. Now Canapino trying to get the best of the draft to make a move on Lando Norris for P2. This could be the defining moment for the race for Augustin Canapino. Could this be his chance? He's using the draft. Where will he go? Outside or inside? Lando Norris moves to the inside. Canapino around the outside. Lando blocks it off. Now cut back. This could be an opportunity. Lando Norris locks up a little bit. Canapino is on his tail. This could be his chance. Past Reda Posta. And now, can he get this move done? Lando Norris is quietly and very discreetly blocking all the lines, but for Canapino, it's virtually now or never. Where will he go? Norris moves to the inside. Canapino to the outside. Now this is naughty racing there, but Lando Norris is covering off all the good lines, and Canapino, it seems, just doesn't seem to have that extra edge that he needs to make a move on the inside or around the outside of Lando Norris. Final opportunity here. This could be for Canapino around the outside, and my goodness, this is really good racing around here, Will.
Yeah, you can make the move on the outside of Ferradura, but only if you are really, really brave. And we saw Augustin Canapino try to do that in the number 86 car over the driver of Lando Norris, but there's no return from 86 right now because it is to be Max Verstappen leading the way, and it looks as though that Lando Norris will get a second place unless something bold happens then down into Yunsao for the final time in race number 1, and it won't. It looks as though Max Verstappen will claim race number 1 victory here. His third race win on the bounce here. The lights are flashing. Verstappen wins here at Interlagos in race number 1. Lando Norris second. Augustin Canapino in second. Sorry, Lando Norris in second. Augustin Canapino in third even. And then Bruno Spengler rounds out your top 4, and what a race we just had. as that is Antonio Felix da Costa just looping that car after the start-finish straight. A couple of drivers still coming past the start-finish line. It's close, by the way, down at P number 18-19. Daniel Morad just got himself ahead of John Edwards. That's for P number 20 on track. And wow, first race there, that was an interesting one, shall we say, to be the very least here, Linus.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Great blocking there as well from Lando Norris at the end. He kept the inside and he kept his line. Did a bit of double blocking in a couple of places, but definitely not unfair from him. And Augustin just couldn't get a run on him. So great driving there from Lando and great battles all the way through the field. So good win there from Max Verstappen. Be interesting to see what he can do in the next one.
And Samel, thoughts?
Guys, this wasn't just interesting. This got pretty hectic and pretty exciting at a certain point of time. Good racing, actually. Good way to start off this particular round. We've got another race to go, and a good race by Max Verstappen. You have to say, he just clearly steamrolled past everyone. But in the end, I've got to say that that kind of defending that Lando Norris did against ahead of Augusto Canapino, that was absolutely spectacular. A good race to start with, but remember, guys, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We've got yet another race coming up. Double the action and double the fun.
Let's have a look through your final race results from race number 1. Because it was the driver of Max Verstappen who got himself pole position, led every single lap here today, and he claims victory by 3.6 seconds over Lando Norris. Augustin Canapino, third place. Bruno Spengler, we didn't actually talk about him throughout the majority of this race, but he came home P number 4. Nicky Katzberg rounds out your top 5 with Dries Van Toor in 6th place, Kelvin van der Linde in 7th place, Jan Manenborough in 8th, Antonio Felix da Costa in 9th, and Richard Westbrook rounds out your top 10. There are the remainder of those results coming up on your screen right now. Well, Max, that's 3 wins in a row for you now.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Yeah, I like the track. It's a good track. I mean, there are not that many corners on the track, but it's still a lot of fun to drive.
Talk about this racetrack compared to what we had on Monday. How does the car and the track differ in terms of your preparation?
Well, the preparation is pretty similar, I guess. I mean, we don't know that what track we are going to run, so you use those 30 minutes as much as you can to understand. And then also the car. Like lately, I've been driving more the Porsche and the Ford. So, yeah, to get the BMW, you need a bit of time to adjust.
We got Antonio Felix. Oh, Lando's turned up. Hi, Lando.
What do you mean? I've been here the whole day.
Is it just me, or this music was super loud now?
Okay, we'll turn that music down.
No,
We'll say,
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's the closest thing I've had to a party in the last 3 weeks.
social distance, everyone. Please be careful. But Lando, you turned up. You get P number 2 here today. How did that race feel to you?
I mean, I'm so happy with P2. It would be nice to be one step higher, but yeah, I'm always like a couple tenths off of Max basically now in qualifying and everything, which is annoying, but yeah, that's just how it is. I need to try and put that up together, but in the race, Max is just a lot more consistent, which is understandable. So yeah, nothing to really say.
You qualified.
Yeah, Lando is a professional Rocket League player now.
Exactly. I spend my time on Rocket League and Escape from Tarkov and not on iRacing, so...
Did you escape?
Oh, many times.
You qualified P2, Lando. You didn't get that draft early on. Was that because of the fact that you're battling with Augustin Canapino behind? Or was that just because, to be frank and honest, that Max is just too fast?
Who was it behind me? I thought it was Juncadella.
That was Canapino.
It was Canapino.
Oh, really?
Lando.
Have you never heard of the F3 button before?
No. No, I was looking at my mirrors more than my times. No, I made one mistake, I think in turn 1, and that allowed Max to pull away. I managed to get back once within the draft, and then I made another mistake. So just like I said, I'm just making too many mistakes. Max is just consistent. Yeah, and that's about it.
Antonio Felix da Costa is here as well. He finished beat number 9. Thoughts?
Pretty happy with that. Clean race for me. Again, took me a little bit to get up to speed, and then I felt my speed was pretty good. I was keeping the distance to Kelvin ahead. So yeah, try and put it all together now and be a bit more upfront.
Can I just say, by the way, I don't know who I need to thank, but thank the heavens above for you having a headset that makes you bring yourself into the 21st century.
You should have just told me a week ago, and I would have fixed it.
It's
Easy.
fixed now. That's the important part.
But maybe I was screaming too much before,
But
calmer now.
race number 2 is coming up in just a couple of moments of time here, Antonio. P number 9 in race number 1. Are you looking for top 5 in race number 2? Is that achievable?
Yes. Let's go. I'm not
Just
afraid
don't get
to
an
say it.
off-track lap 2.
I'm not afraid to say it. Let's go.
Right, okay. Be like salt and pepper. Push it real good. Look, I've got to make some form of jokes here today. It's a Wednesday night. But thank you so much. We'll talk to you again as we get through the second race here. And guys, they're still so chilled out. That's the thing here. These drivers, they're just on a 20-ish minute race around Interlagos, and they just sound as though they just come out of the bathroom, to be honest, or out the kitchen, Linus.
Well, it's it's what they do. It's their everyday work for most of them, I guess you can call it. So it's they're all used to it. But like we've seen on some of the other NASCAR and IndyCar streams and all that. So most drivers say that they're more nervous ahead of the sim racing races than they are for their real races. So you could expect them to be a little wound up. But most of these guys do a lot of sim racing, so it's everyday life for them, and they're pretty used to it. And I think it's pretty chill for them. So I think they're having more fun than anything right now.
Yeah. Race number 2, though, Samil, it's not a lot of time between race number 1 and race number 2. So if you got into bad habits in race number 1, you've got to get out of them quickly. However, if you did well in race number 1, it's about consolidating your position.
Yeah, it really is. There's not a lot of time, as you mentioned, between both the races. And getting a habit done really quickly, I mean, it can be a bit of an issue. Let's say if you have a bad habit of oversteering in a certain corner or not taking the right line, you need to make sure that you improve it, and improve it rather quickly, because the gap between both the races isn't long enough. But for some drivers that could be good, because you don't really want to drop out of your momentum. So a lot of drivers, they stay in a certain flow, and being out of that flow for a very, very long time can compromise the quality of their driving. So for some, those who have done really well in this race, they'll be hoping that this starts rather quickly, or maybe after they're done with a sip of water or something else. But for the others, they'll be wishing that they get just a little bit of practice. But unfortunately, that may not be the case over here.
I like the fact that when you talk about a sip of water, of course, some of these drivers were taking something far more serious, like a sip of Yazoo, or Coca-Cola, or Pepsi.
Yeah.
Because that's, of course, what we want to endorse here. Soft drinks, energy drinks for the win. For Max Verstappen, of course, Linus, that's going to be Red Bull and nothing else.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that he has to advertise for is Red Bull, and Red Bull. So we just helped him do that, but obviously that's the team he's racing for, so that's all he's going to want us to say about him.
And let's be honest, Linus, you're having so much more fun here on a Wednesday night than you normally do on a Monday. Come on, admit it.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty different. It's some more known names. It's a bit different racing. M&S is short races with a lot of battles, but it's 20-minute sessions and then it's all over. Here you get another chance to do it all over again, and we just had a massive crash between a couple of cars coming down the hill. So just hope everybody's all right. But it's pretty fun to be here.
I really want to make a joke about 20 minutes and you and other people, but I don't think I'm allowed to do so and keep this broadcast PG. But you know what I mean here.
20 minutes is quite a long time.
Yeah. Samil.
It's all about perspective, man.
Exactly.
Yes. Qualifying will start soon here for Samil for race number 2. We can see on RaceSpot TV's countdown ticker, we've got 100 seconds before we come back to the live pictures. Race number 1 was entertaining. Race number 2 will be entertaining. What will be your thoughts for race number 2?
Well, race number 2, if, as the name suggests, if it's doubly as exciting as race number 1, I guess it's the best possible way to spend a Wednesday night. Hopefully it should be a good race. I guess the pressure is all on multiple drivers, including Canapino, because he just couldn't get that chance to get into P2. Now though, he has a chance to get it all over again, has a chance to do it all over again and make a move on Lando Norris, maybe get a win, maybe get second place. But the important part here will be thinking about how to dethrone Max Verstappen. He's been on an absolute roll. Pole position, leading every lap and winning the race in the end. For the other drivers like Antonio Felix da Costa or perhaps a Sheldon van der Linde or Stoffel van Dorn, it is all about trying to be consistent, trying to have a clean race and maybe hope for a good result if things pan out your way. Also, another thing that I'd like to bring up, guys, as you mentioned, Will, all the drivers seem so chilled and so relaxed. Back in the day, the drivers used to come in Formula 1, have a bit of champagne, relax with the girls and have a good time. They were just so tired. Nowadays, as we saw Jackie Stewart speak to Charles Leclerc, in fact, after one of the races, you don't even have a sweat on. You're not even putting any effort. So it's a big change in the way drivers work, drivers respond, and the way drivers are being prepared, you could say, nowadays in racing.
Will is at a loss for words for that explanation.
I am, but we're back here with live photos now. There we are, magic on TV. I was just thinking about the fact that you talk about champagne in some races, of course, to get rose water because the local customs leader said.
Yeah.
I remember the time that, so I believe it might have been Verstappen, his first podium. He got himself rose water and he looked at it. And it was like, excuse me, what is this?
I remember Abu Dhabi 2012. I was just, the race was exactly on my 8th birthday. Not my 8th birthday, I think 9th birthday, yeah. And I was just a little kid watching, and I thought all the image that I know of Kimi Raikkonen was, okay, this guy's Finn, drives fast, loves his alcohol. And he won that race after, I think it was his first win in many, many years. Won the race and he got a bottle of rose water, and he just looked at it like, what do I do with that? That's just utterly pointless. And of course he ended up having a champagne later on, but Kimi, being Kimi, he just said no to the rose water, as he would, obviously.
Kimi being Kimi. Qualifying is underway, by the way, right now. 2 laps once again here, Linus. And we're looking on board with Philippe Nazir, who's, of course, a Formula 1 driver, GP2 race winner as well. We're going to ride on board with him in that number 7 car as he heads down through Ferradura into that middle section of the racetrack.
It's going to be very important for him once again to have a good run here, and so far he's had a pretty good lines through all the turns, but obviously we won't know until he gets to the line if it's a good lap or not. But expecting Verstappen to be at the top again with the gap that he had in the first run, if he just doesn't make any mistakes, I believe for him to be at the top again. But we saw in that qualifying session a lot of drivers improved by 2 to 3 tenths on their second lap. So this first lap can be treated as a bit of a warm-up lap, but at the same time you don't want to make a mistake on the first lap to have a bank lap, so you can push everything on the second one. So it's risk versus reward here on the first lap, but definitely second lap is quicker.
Yeah, we're on board to say with Philippe Nazir, and Verstappen goes fastest, Juncadella second, Guven third, Dillman fourth, and that all changes by the time I get those words out there, as it is still Verstappen leading the way, but Bruno Spengler up into P number 2 in that first lap of qualifying. We're looking on board right now with Sheldon van der Linde in the number 6 car on his second lap here. But that qualifying is a little bit different to what we saw in race number 1 here, Samil.
Yeah, it does seem quite a bit different. Quite a few other drivers that we didn't see do a great job in race number 1, doing quite a good job over here. And speaking of Bruno Spengler, the guy surely knows how to drive a BMW fast, doesn't he? And we see Van Tor coming in second place, just 3 tenths behind Max Verstappen. Guys, this does seem to be quite exciting, but Max still well and truly at the top. No one challenging him so far, but we still have some time left. We still have Lando Norris yet to put his lap in, and also Canapino as well. So these 3 drivers should be the ones to watch out for. But so far, so good. Max still at the top.
Well, yeah, and for all we know here, Smells, that Lando's probably just playing Rocket League, trying to get a game out way quickly. We saw him in the interview. We talked about the fact that he's been playing a lot of Rocket League. Other simulators and other games are available, but for Lando, he's got to get his move on here. Only 5 minutes remaining in qualifying as Norris goes second.
Well, he really does have to. And remember, guys, he stopped drinking milk. So could that be a factor in him getting a bit slower? Nah, just kidding. Lando
No
Norris,
Indy 500 for him.
No Indy 500 for him. Exactly. Knowing Lando Norris, the milk and the lack of hair from tomorrow on will not bother him as much. But yeah, he needs to come back. Oh, he's put a lap in, and he's only 1/10 behind Max Verstappen. So it's all getting a bit close here, all getting a bit exciting. But Max, still the king of the hill.
Yeah, we've got a couple of minutes then before we go over to our race. And Lando, tell us about the hair loss.
I mean, I've got no hair loss, but I'm shaving my hair off.
Why?
Because it was one of my goals in the charity stream that I did the other night. And my goal was when it got to 10K, I would shave all my hair off.
Okay, and of course, I've got to ask the serious question here. Charity partners, talk us through it.
Well, it was part of Twitch Aid, which was all in for the relief of the COVID-19 and helping everyone that's going through the tough times of all of that. I think in total they managed to raise something like 2.7 million or something, which was pretty awesome. So, yeah, I mean, I played a small part, but I was happy to do so. With the only negative of having to shave my hair off.
And we also learned that you have stopped drinking milk as well. We just talked about this a moment ago on the broadcast. Does that mean that you're never going to run an Indy 500? Because if you win, what are you going to drink? And you cannot say the word orange juice.
No, look, I mean, I don't know. Like I just stopped drinking it because, I was putting on a bit of weight. I was just drinking too much of it, and I just wanted to be a bit healthier. That was all. Nothing else than that. But I would still love to do Indy 500, especially to drink. Like, I still love milk, and I would still have it, but it's just not as much of a big deal in my life anymore.
So therefore, the answer is win the Indy 500, he gets some milk, and that's a prize for you.
Oh, full fat, by the way.
Okay, full fat. We'll note that one down. Max, you are pole position once again here. 4 wins in a row?
I don't know. Let's wait and see. But yeah, we'll try to.
Well, thank you very much. Right now, Lando's wondering, why on earth am I still allowed to commentate these races? Because I've just asked some very difficult questions to him. Max, pole position for race number 2, looking to try and get himself 2 race wins in a row here today. That'll be 4 race wins on the bounce. I've got Samil and Linus back here. We got some difficult questions there, Linus, to Lando. I think I'm in his bad books right now.
Nah, well, I mean, he's obviously not going to be too happy about not getting pole position, but he's going to have to do a better job now with Max, and he's actually tied with Sheldon for second place, but obviously they can't start in the same spot, so Lando gets second and Sheldon gets third, but it's he's definitely got his work cut out for him now if he's going to win this one.
Mighty close between P number 2 and P number 3. Let's have a look through your starting grid then for race number 2 here on Real Racers Never Quit, brought to you by Team Redline here at Interlagos. And at the front of your field, it is Max Verstappen, who leads the way by just over 1/10 of a second over Lando Norris. It's exactly the same time between the Formula 1 driver and the BMW DTM driver of Sheldon van der Linde. But Lando Norris, by doing the virtue of getting that time earlier, gets himself P number 2, Sheldon van der Linde in P number 3. Anton Guven in 4th place then, the Porsche Super Cup vice champion of 2019. We go on back, and P number 5 is Nicky Katzberg, who apparently still has some form of a diner reservation. Franco Colapinto, that's a move up for him. P number 6. He's the Formula Ford Spain champion of 2019. Dennis Marshall in P number 7. Sasha Vintrat in P number 8. 9th place in this race will go to Juice Vontor, and then P number 10 to Matt Campbell. The remainder of those qualifying times coming up on your screen, while Linus thinks a little bit different from race number 1 to race number 2.
Yeah, they are. We got obviously Max and Lando at the front, but Sheldon van der Linde having that crash coming up the hill all by himself. He definitely wants to rebound from that, and maybe, just maybe, he can get in the battle here for the win, but he needs a good, quick start if he wants that. Otherwise, obviously, he can still get 3rd place, and some other names at the front that we didn't really see close to the front. Canapino, who finished 3rd, he starts all the way back in 12th in this one after miserable qualifying, so he's going to have a very different race this time out as well.
And Samil, it's worth noting, like, still a stacked field here for race number 2.
Yeah, it really is. I think I've even lost count of how many cars we've had. I think over 40, 45 to be precise. So it's going to be absolutely mad. I think 12 laps around the Interlagos circuit, which isn't the longest circuit in the world. So just as we saw with the last race, we can expect a bit of traffic. And that is something the likes of Verstappen, Norris and Van der Linde will have to battle it out. And it's just about to begin. It's about to be a tremendous race, but I just wonder what is going to be going on in the mind of Lando Norris. He knew that he couldn't get it done in the last race. Can he get it done this time out? I mean, of course, sim racing, it's one of the best hobbies and best activities for the drivers to sharpen up their skills, but in the end, we all want to win, don't we? Well, as we see the pace car getting ready, all the cars are lining up. Of course, we start from halfway down the track to save up on some time. And I think that's either Verstappen or Norris's car isn't really gridded up yet. But once they do, yeah, it's Verstappen's car. So once he does grid up, we shall begin with the pace lap. And very, very shortly, the race will begin. Race number 2 of the Red Line Racing Real Racers Never Give Up series, round 5, of course, at Interlagos.
Yeah, and we heard early on from Lando Norris, Linus, the fact that he is losing his hair in aid of charity and COVID-19. Of course, he also talked about the reason why he gave up milk, but you know what? If he wins today, he might just have himself a cheeky little glass.
Well, maybe that would be a good way to celebrate. Reminiscing to Indy 500 or Jeff Gordon when he won his first championship drinking milk instead of champagne. So we'll see if that happens. But first of all, before he can do that, obviously he needs to beat Max Verstappen, and that's not going to be an easy thing to do, as we see the Porsche pace car roll off here in front of a field full of BMWs.
Come on, Linus, you worked with us long enough. It's not Porsche, it's Porsche. Come on, Linus, you can get it right.
Porsche pace car
The
roll off
Germans
in
will
front of
not be
a
happy.
field full of BMWs.
There we are. You've worked with us for long enough. You should know that one by now, the distinction. And yes, we are working a Porsche on a number of different events, including this coming weekend, where we're going to be bringing you the first round of the virtual Porsche Mobile 1 Super Cup, as Max Verstappen has got technical issues. Max Verstappen may not take the green flag here, Linus.
No, he definitely just disappeared. He's got some bad technical issues, and I cannot see him anywhere. So
Oh dear.
we might have Lando Norris on pole position, or maybe Sheldon van der Linde being in 3rd. He's going to be the one actually moved up to pole position. Not really sure how they're going to sort that one out, but
I tell you what,
that's definitely going to change everything.
Yeah, and just to let you know that Max had just disappeared from our virtual channel as well. Well, I was about to go and ask Max what is going on, but I have got confirmation that Max Verstappen has got technical issues here because he just lost his connection, and that means this race is wide open. So get the milk ready if you need to. Lando Norris will stay in 2nd place, but Sheldon van der Linde moves up to the front of your field right now due to the way that the gridding system works. This is going to be chaotic and cold on the racetrack.
What's going on here?
Before you even go to green
What's
flag
going on?
racing.
Big crash. There's 10 cars involved. The back cars flipping everywhere. This is chaos. What's going on? Oh,
Should we just let
my.
this one play out for a minute? Let's
Yeah,
just
do
let
that.
this one
Yeah.
play out. And let's show you what's happening here out on track, because
What in the world?
yeah, we've got 10 drivers minimum out on lap number 1, turn number 1. These drivers head themselves then down towards Gisego de Lego, turn number 5 on track for the first time. Those drivers involved Selma van der Linde, Maxime Martin, Gilda van der Gaard. You've got yourself Matt Campbell, John Edwards, a load of drivers involved in that one. This one we need to replay from that start, and that all really started here with the chaos that started because of the fact that Max Verstappen did not take pole position.
Yeah, that's quite hectic as you see, just cars bouncing around like tennis balls over there. It just reminds me of that GTE race at the Paul Ricard circuit, where we saw some confusions and some complications with the yellow flag and the safety car, but no such issues over there. But still, there was a lot of carnage as we ride on board with Lando Norris. And guys, just look behind, look at all the carnage, all the madness that's going to happen in the back. If this is this the one for the first lap? No, that isn't the one for the first lap. But Lando Norris is being chased, in fact, by Anshan Guven for the lead. But that start was absolutely chaotic. Demolition Derby are the only two words that come in mind as we see a battle going on there for P3. Oh, they're going side by side and someone spins off. That is a spinner back there. Dennis Marshall, if I'm not mistaken. And that is far from ideal for him. At the Senna SS, he was battling so hard. And he is spun out of the race as we ride on board with him. Nicky Katzberg it is.
No, it's not Nicky Katzberg.
No, it's not
someone
Nicky
else.
Katzberg.
It's someone else.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it is Nicky Katzberg. I'm completely right. It is Nicky Katzberg. And of course, Nicky Katzberg, the number 26 car, out then very early on in this race. Drama, intrigue, everything going on here, Linus.
Yeah, it's been chaos in the start of this race, and Sheldon van der Linde, who started in third or in pole position as well, he got spun out in turn number 1 at start 2. I don't know if we caught that on the replay or not, but he's out of the race too. So it's Norris and Guven at the front, and then with Katzberg crashing out, that's Marshall, Worden, Ventura at the back in third, fourth and fifth, but they're a couple of seconds behind, so it's pretty much a 2-car race here for the win already. And with Norris being out front, I think he's definitely got the upper hand, but Guven is definitely not going to give up, so much to play for still, but it's only 2 cars in the battle for the win at the moment.
Yeah, we're trying to put you a replay there on Sheldon van der Linde. We couldn't get it. We apologise. We move on. Anshan Guven right now, right on the rear of Lando Norris. They head themselves down into the centre S. I'll tell you one thing here, Sibel, we've actually got a race going on here in race number 2.
We really have. Looking at that sort of carnage, you'll just be thinking, domination, but not really. Anshan Guven is right at the tail of Lando Norris. And guess what, guys? There is many more laps of this ride to come. Anshan Guven just gets slightly closer, but now Norris powers out, gets on the AstroTurf for a little bit. But Guven is chasing, and he is chasing hard. Do I see him getting closer over there using the draft? Yes, indeed. He's getting slightly closer in, but Lando Norris is blocking the lines, and Guven will have to put in an extraordinary effort to go past, because as we saw in the last race, Lando Norris is a tough customer. He just doesn't let anyone go so easily, and that is something that Guven might be learning the hard way. But if he can do something special, if he can get that really big X-Factor move, he can in fact win this second race. As we take a look at the battles back there for P3, and Larry Ten Vold is actually doing quite a good job. He's moved up into P4, of course a Porsche Super Cup race winner, Larry, and now, oh, big moment over there. He just snapped, his car snapped a little bit as he went on the grass. Thankfully for him, it's under control, but this seems to be a battle for P3 that's going to be quite entertaining, it seems.
It is, and actually just behind him as well, you've got the number 21 car. That is Dries Vanthoor in this battle going on 3, 4 and 5 on track. I'm going to try and get a word here with Max Verstappen. And Max, what happened?
PC crashed.
Oh,
Simple as that.
Simple answer there. You've always said that you've always wanted to commentate a race. Now's your opportunity. You ready for it?
I'm not in the race, sorry, so I'm not watching it. I'm trying to fix my PC because it's still half broken.
Okay. we'll let you off this time by, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, you had 3 races in the row that you won, not getting forwards. Just by the way, we got ourselves Bruno Spengler and Sasha Ferret to see trouble on the racetrack. That is Bruno Spengler, who just goes off down at Ferradura, and he falls down to P number 17. But we'll talk to you all after the race here. Bruno Spengler in P number 17, losing about 5 places on track there, Linus.
Well, he was actually running P8 and he got spun out by Sasha Fenestris, whatever way you pronounce that. So I think he lost out quite a bit there, unfortunately, dropping down into 17th. So that was over 10 positions he lost. But these guys have been going at it all race long here around P7, 8, 9. So that's Daniel Juncadella currently leading that group, and spread out a bit now. Neil Verhagen back there as well. And Kelvin van der Linde was in this battle about a lap ago, but he's drove away by over a second thanks to all the battling they've been doing. So Kelvin going up from 19th up to P number 6 so far.
And we're right on board of Kelvin van der Linde right now, P number 6, the ADAC GT Masters Champion of 2019 right now, Samil, as he works himself out of Curve de Sol, down the back straightaway here at Interlagos, and the gap between himself and Larry Ten Voort is about 1 second on track. That means he's not got the draft just yet, but also more importantly, he's not picking up the dirty air just yet.
Absolutely, and that could be a crucial factor in this incredibly tight and important middle sector, because over here you can lose or gain a lot of your time. So getting into the dirty air over here can literally compromise a large proportion of your lap. So for Kelvin van der Linde, he's not close enough, but it certainly is doable over the course of this race. But guys, I mean, in fact, Will, your good friend Antonio Felix da Costa, 28 places up from where he was, and just a few moments ago he was 31 places up. He's lost a couple of places over here, but good recovery drive, you could say, in a way. He's in P18 at the moment.
He is, and Antonio Felix da Costa is one of those drivers that has gained dramatically at the start of this race. Does look, by the way, at your top 12 on the left-hand side of your screen, but now we have a look through those drivers have been moving up positions, and Larry Ten Voort up 10 places. Kelvin van der Linde up 13 places, Linus.
Yeah, he did a great job avoiding all the carnage at the beginning, and then he's passed a few cars, and you can see here he's definitely getting closer to Larry Ten Voort here. It's now down to just under a second, so if he keeps up this gap, this speed, he will get him in a few laps. That last lap he gained almost 3/10 on him, and he's getting closer and closer, which gives him more and more draft. So keep this up, and we will have a battle for 5th position pretty soon. Meanwhile, Sasha Fenestris, Neil Verhagen, and Daniel Juncadella still going at it behind him for P number 6, 7, and 8, but no real passes being made at the moment. So those guys we're definitely going to have to keep an eye out on them. That's 7, 8, and 9. Sorry, not 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, and actually this is worth battle. We want to up on board when Daniel Juncadella right now, DTM race winner here, Samil. He's got himself Neil Vergen just ahead of him, and then the number 11 car of Sasha Ventrex just ahead. P7, 8, 9, very close to work for that middle section of the racetrack.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely going at it, and we know Daniel Juncadella, he can get pretty aggressive, as we saw in the last race with Max Verstappen. But guys, this battle is going to be absolutely fun now. This is the part that I really want you all to focus. Now, when we come on the main stretch, these guys could be getting a lot of benefit from the draft, as we see Sasha Fenestris potentially pulling away because he's just getting a bit ahead, up ahead in front of the others. But Daniel Juncadella, look at the advantage that he gets from the draft. A lot of slipstream, he tries to make a move down the inside. This could be his opportunity if he brakes late enough, but he doesn't. Or does he? He goes down the inside. Juncadella side by side, wheel to wheel racing, and Danny Juncadella moves up into P8, and that is a textbook move heading into turn 1 at Interlagos, and Juncadella is now in the top 8.
That's the difference there, Linus, between running in a GT car and being experienced in GT racing compared to open wheel racing. Simple as that.
Yeah, that was a great move from Juncadella there to get that move done, but it looked like Neil, either he missed his braking point a bit or he just moved wide and let him have it, because Neil definitely had the line into the corner and was clearly ahead of Daniel, but somehow Daniel just managed to get it done. So Neil Verhagen there made a little bit of a mistake or something, because Daniel got that position fairly easily, I think. But they're still going at it here. Now Daniel obviously still ahead, and Neil not getting quite close enough to make that move, but Richard Westbrook is Norris joining in from behind as well. So I think we might see Neil getting that run back on Daniel coming up the hill, or maybe Giancarella can get close enough to Sasha Fenestras to get the run up the hill. But Sasha has got a bit of a gap, so I think he's safe for now.
Well, we haven't actually seen this driver in a while here, unless he's been in a crash, but let's go on board with Stoffel Van Dorn in the number 15 car, Formula E-Star GP2 champion, Formula 1 racer on the exit of Yunsao. He's raced at this racetrack before here, Sunil, but not in a GTE car, as he worked from the exit of Yunsao down towards the final corner here, which is actually in the GTE car more of an issue than what you'd have in a Formula 1 machine.
Yeah, because in a Formula 1 machine, with the kind of power that you have, you can just simply lift and just go easily up the hill. The kind of power that a Formula 1 car has is absolutely massive. As we see Van Dorn have a big moment there, the Senna S's just moved on a little bit, went on the grass, and his car almost snapped on him. Good control there by Stoffel Van Dorn, but yeah, he does have a lot of experience at this track, but crucially for the others, Van Dorn doesn't really have as much as experience as he would like to in the BMW M8 GTE. Still, he's doing quite a good job as we now shift our focus elsewhere, as we see the battle over here for P1, Anchan Guven and Lando Norris, and my goodness, they get really too close for comfort over there. Lando Norris leaving it very, very late, blocking the line, and Anchan Guven just trying to sneak in there, trying to make that move, but remember, he still has a few more laps to go. Patience is a virtue. Guven will be thinking, okay, I need to find the right time to strike, but it can get too late, and he needs to get that opportunity and try to make his move ahead of Lando Norris. Easier said than done, remember, and now Guven is trying to make good use of the draft. Where will he go? Outside or inside? This could be the defining moment. Guven gets closer, looks down the outside, but Lando Norris blocks off the line. Oh, he locks up. Guven goes down the inside. They're side by side, wheel to wheel past the Senna S's. Ancient Guven right on the tail of Lando Norris, and Will, this is getting absolutely exciting here.
And Guven has got himself a good run on the back straightaway, and you see defensive line being taken by Lando Norris into turn number 5. Guven on the outside can't do anything, but this battle for P number 1, P number 2, Lando Norris there just had himself his bacon saved, as now they come into Ferradura and around the outside. Although Anchan Guven, and well, Linus, this one has really got exciting. After Max Verstappen did not start this race in pole position, the battle for P number 1 and P number 2 is so close. They work down through these infield sections, and again Guven in contact, and Guven to the race lead.
Norris is covering the inside in every single corner, but finally Guven managed to find a little bit of an opening, locks up his brakes slightly and slides into the side of Norris. Thankfully Norris is able to save it, and they're still going. That means Dennis Marshall and Dries van Thor a little bit as well can catch up from behind, but these two are still going at it. Lando Norris definitely not giving up, but Anchan Guven is going to lead this lap. Norris has got the draft though. Can he make a move back into turn number 1? I don't know if he's close enough, but Guven definitely covering the inside. Here goes Norris to the outside. He's going to lock up again, be late on the brakes. He's going to get a bit of an overlap. Going to try the undercut here. He gets the better line through the first part of the SS. He gets a good run through the second part, and he's going to be right on his tail onto the straightaway now. Third place is just 1 second behind, but here comes Norris to the inside. He gets the block, and Norris has to go to the outside. That's a great block late by Guven, but he gets done a contact again. Norris backs off a bit, and Guven is going to hold on to the lead, and here comes Dennis Marshall.
And they see that Norris goes wide down at turn number 5, and this means it's now a 3-horse race in the battle for your race lead here. Business has picked up with 2.5 laps of racing to go here at Interlagos. It is Anchan Guven who leads away over Lando Norris. You got Dennis Marshall who runs in 3rd place right now. But the thing is as well here, Linus, is that you've got P number 4 only 1.2 seconds back. What we know from running these type of races and commentating these type of races, it's not a 3-horse race, it's a 4-horse race, maybe even a 5-horse race by the time we get to the white flag.
Yeah, if these guys start running side by side through the corners, Dries van Thor in 4th is going to catch up straight away, and then a couple of seconds behind him. We got Larry Ten Voorde and Kelvin van der Linde battling for 5th, so they can easily catch up as well. But coming now to 2 laps to go, Guven blocks the inside early. He's all the way to the inside. Well, Norris moves out, tries to cut back under him, but he has to swerve out. Here comes Marshall as well. Norris around the outside. Oh, he's not going to get it done this time. Marshall's right there too, and who can get the better exit? It looks like Norris gets a bit sideways, so Guven's going to hold the lead. Here comes Marshall. He's going to look to the outside. He's going to dive to the inside. Norris is going to have to block Marshall back to the outside. Norris in the middle of the track, so Guven going to get a bit of a gap here as Marshall backs out early to not run side by side with Norris and let Guven get away. That was a clever move by Marshall, as he knew he wasn't going to get it done. He didn't want to waste any time at all.
Boy, oh boy, this is turning out to be absolutely insane. Dennis Marshall in P3, he has just closed up with in the battle between Lando Norris and Anton Guven. And man, this is going to be really, really exciting. 2 laps to go, and the moment I saw that incident between Lando Norris and Guven, the only thing I could think of, Alex Albon, Lewis Hamilton. We've seen this done exactly here only a few months ago, as we now see Lando Norris just close in a little bit on Guven. This could be the most exciting part of the entire broadcast for today. Track limits being abused very, very much at the last corner, and now Guven in the lead. Norris is chasing him hard. He's just pulling away a little bit, but the impact of the draft could now kick in. 2 to go, and now when they cross the line, it will be the white flag lap, the final lap of this race, and this is where it will all come down to. Guven pulling away, Norris under good attack, under a lot of pressure from the driver in P3, that is Marshall, and he fends it off. I think Anton Guven has fended it off turn 1, and I think he's safe enough for this one, but it could all kick up here into turn 3 as Lando Norris is just gaining a little bit, and this could be his chance heading into turn 3. Will, what's your take?
Yeah, but we've got ourselves 2/3 of a lap still to go here, and anything can still happen. Anton Guven has actually done the hard part, some would argue here, because he's got himself that lead on the exit of turn number 5, but the gap between your first place and third place driver is currently 7/10 of a second. Anton Guven leads a train of 4 cars right now, and we're going to go on board Lando Norris, because Lando wants to try and make something happen. It won't happen here, down this right-hander, down on the Duckbill corner, as it's known here at Interlagos, but you might think about it in towards Yunsao, the second to last corner on the racetrack. Lando Norris though does look to be a little bit too far back. Anton Guven goes wide, but he's okay as they work now down towards the final corner for the final time. We had excitement, but at the end of it, it looked to be Anton Guven is in control as they come towards the start-finish line. Anton Guven will win race number 2 here, and look at that drifting celebration as he crosses the start-finish line. Anton Guven is your winner of race number 2, Linus.
He is. That was an outstanding racing behind him for the 5th place. We had a great battle between van der Linde and Ten Voorde as well, and they made contact halfway around the last half of that lap. So Sasha Fenastris went from 2nd up to 5th in that last lap as well. So great battles all the way through the field, but that battle for the win. The move by Guven was outstanding, and he did great to block, and Marshall was there. Van Thor got into it as well at the end. That could have gone either way, but wow. Max Verstappen not starting that race definitely made it a lot more exciting.
Yeah, as what a crazy ending we had all the way through your field here, Samil. A great end to Wednesday night. You know what? About an hour ago I said this was getting a little bit boring. Well, not in race number 2.
Boring? What's that? What an incredible race, and I guess, guys, not even I guess, this is definitely the most fun way to spend any Wednesday night ever. What a race that was towards the end, and the kind of battles that we saw between Guven, Norris and Marshall towards the end. Man, I was literally laughing out of happiness midway through the race. I was just so entertained. And this kind of racing, well, we don't really see it too often, but with Team Redline, with the quality of the drivers that they have, expect to see the unexpected. What a tremendous race. And Linus, that's surely better than driving at Bristol, isn't it?
Well, that's still about half an hour away, so we'll see, but that was definitely exciting, and I hope I don't have to get into any sort of this racing tonight, but definitely great race, and it would have been fun to see Max Verstappen in this race, see if Lando could have kept up, and maybe we would have had 5 cars battling it out there for the end, and Max being in a battle like this would definitely have made it a lot more exciting, if that's even possible.
But here's a look, by the way, at the last lap once again from up above. Our fantastic aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design and also by TrackCams22.com. Shout out to our friend over at Istvan Balau. That's me doing my sponsorship messages for today. As a wonderful look then at this final lap of the race. And Antoine Gouven had some issues, but the thing is, Linus, you and I both know this from one of the Skippies. You work through turn 5, you get through turn 5, most of the hard work is done. You just got to keep it on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's Norris definitely could have done a move like Gouven did further up on the lap, but he wasn't really close enough to do it. So once he got through that turn 5 at the end, with the straightaways being over and done with, he pretty much won the race as long as he didn't make a mistake, because the draft isn't big enough to pass before the start finish line, obviously, in these cars. So all he had to do was focus on his thing, not make a mistake, do everything perfect, and he had the win. And then obviously that slide at the end, as you can see there, putting some smoke all over Lando Norris, and 2 second place finishes for him isn't bad either.
It's not. There's a look at your final race results here from Interlagos. He says, there we are. Let's look as is Antoine Gouven. We're going to see him on Saturday, of course, on Eurosport, on Sport 1, Ziggo Sports, as well as Porsche's feeds for YouTube, for Twitch, etc., as well as Red Bull Racing Turkey. Antoine Gouven, he was the vice champion in 2019, the Porsche Super Cup. Well, he wins here today in our event, our second event on Real Races Never Quit, event number 5, brought to you by Team Redline. Lando Norris comes home in P number 2. Not quite a milk bar for Lando, but he does a pretty darn good job. Then after that, a couple of drivers we haven't seen in podium positions for a while. We've got Dennis Marshall coming home 3rd place. Then you got Dries Van Toor in 4th and Sasha Venturat in P number 5. Daniel Juncadella in P number 6 with Neil Vergan in P7. Richard Restbrook in P number 8. And then Kelvin van der Linde in 9th place. And Job van Uret rounds out your top 10. There is the remainder of those race results then coming up on your screen now. You can see the remainder of those drivers inside of your top 20. We had 19 drivers finish on the lead lap in this second race here. Of course, it's a short lap at Interlagos, but 19 drivers finish on the lead lap. And they're those drivers that, well, got involved in incidents early on for the most part in this race. As we can see then, we go down to the drivers down to P number 40, Ben Viscal in the 40th position, and these drivers that finish way down the order. Let's talk to some drivers. I was going to say let's talk to some drivers. Where's everyone gone? It's just Max and Lando.
Yeah, Antonio had to go. He had like a live interview.
Just Lando, P2, how was it?
It was a bit better than race 1 in terms of my pace was a little bit better compared to race 1, like my consistency. So I kind of improved that a bit, but it was obviously a shame that Max had to disconnect because it would have, just would have been nice to try and see what my pace was like compared to him and if I had improved at all. But anyway, apart from that, I guess everything was going well, and then I made a couple of mistakes into turn 1 with a lockup, and I just got a bit of contact in the right-hander from Aincan, and he just managed to get past, and that was about it. And then I just tried hanging on in P2.
That start of the race, because of Max Verstappen's discon, how did that impact the start of your race? Because, of course, you were P number 2, and that doesn't mean that you start on pole position. Actually, what happens is 3rd place goes up to the front of the field. How does it impact on your start? It does, technically.
I don't know. Well, he was Van Linde was P2, but he was staying back as if he was in P3 still. So yeah, I don't know what you have to do or anything, because on on the standing grid, on a standing start, you always have to leave the position, but I don't know what happens when it's in a rolling start. But anyway, I was just staying where I was. He was holding back on me, and I just went when it was pretty much green. So I guess it made my life a bit easier that I didn't have someone on the inside of me, so I could just take it a bit easier into turn one, which was nice.
I'll come back to you in a moment, Lando. Max, you basically spent most of that race with an ice cream or watching from the sidelines. You've broken your streak as a consequence. You could have had 4 race wins in a row. You go into anything can happen Fridays. What's your feelings?
Yeah, I mean, could have, would have, should have, It's just, how you say? I won't swear, but it's of course very disappointing that it happens. But yeah, no, pace was good. So and then I joined back in, and I saw actually there were a lot of people out of the race. I was like, oh, you know what? I'll try to do 4 or 5 laps, see where I end up. And I actually just ended outside of the point. So it was all not too bad. But yeah, I would have of course loved to fight up the front. For that one as well. But yeah, let's see. Hopefully this Friday, I won't have a disastrous Friday like last time.
You know that you're allowed to swear. It's only Dom who you have to apologise to, not us.
Okay. No, I think it's better not to swear. But yeah, it was again. I think this track was good. Yeah, I think anyway the racing normally is really good on this track, and with these cars, it's always very fun to drive. So yeah, let's see what we'll have on Friday.
Well, Lando, you talked earlier about going bald. Talk us through what's going to happen next. Talk about how we can watch it. Talk about what you're raising money for.
It's tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day I shave all my hair off. And I'll be live streaming it. I'll be on Twitch. My shaver arrived today in the post, and I mean, I'll try not to cut myself, and I'll try and shave all my hair off, and that's about it really. I think it's all for a good cause. I mean, I didn't have to do my hair, but I was just, I'll be in quarantine for like probably another month or 2 months or whatever it's going to be, or just have to stay at home, not in quarantine, but whatever it is now. And yeah, probably all grow back by the time we're allowed to go outside. So I just see no reason why not to do it anyway. It was just a bit of fun, and all for a good cause in the end. So I'm happy to do it.
I really hope I don't get shouted at or screamed at by asking this question. Is it only your head hair that you're shaving?
Yeah.
Look, Silverstone happened last year. I've got to ask the question.
It's the second time you bring it up, but it seems to be a recurring question from you.
I'm sorry, I'm interested in the factual reporting of information.
So, Lando, are you going to comment on that?
No, I said I'll shave my head.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
We'll leave it at that one. Thank you so much, guys. Before we let you go, shout out sponsors. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, floor's yours.
I give this one to Lando.
Thanks, Max. I'd always shout out to, well, obviously all the Red Line guys, Adsy, Diedrich, everyone that's set up these races again, and to everyone who took part, of course, you guys for doing the commentary and the stream. And I want to say a big thanks to Max's PC for shutting down at a critical time of the race, because it allowed me to get a better position. So yeah, thanks to all those people.
You know what, Max? Last week it was my PC that had an issue. This Wednesday it's your PC that had an issue. So anything can happen Wednesday, right?
Yeah. First, I'm going to throw my PC off the balcony now, and then I'm going to buy a new one, and then we'll see what's going to happen on Friday.
Well, we see you both on Friday as I go back to hopefully some sane grounds up here. Thank you both. Linus, Samil, two great races here today. Lando winning race number 2, Max winning race number 1, and it is official, only Lando's head will be shaved. And by head, I mean the thing that's on top of his eyeballs.
That's good.
Yeah. Thankfully.
Yes. Any
I don't
final
really know
thoughts?
what to say about that.
Any final thoughts before we let you go here? And thank you, by the way, both of you, for being here tonight. Both of you on short notice as well, I have to say.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was pretty fun, pretty different from what I'm used to doing for race spot. So it's exciting and some great racing. The first race got a bit stretched out, especially towards the front, but the second one definitely heated up and huge crash at the beginning. I thought that would pretty much kill off the whole race, but it obviously did not. So that was very intense, and I'm hoping the remaining races of this little mini championship will be just as exciting.
Samil?
Yeah, firstly, Will, thank you so much for having me here, man. As you mentioned, coming in at a very short notice, with commentators so good and with the race so exciting, I think it becomes really easy to gel in and adapt. So firstly, thank you so much for that. And yeah, incredible racing that we saw over there. I just hope we get more and more of such exciting races on a regular basis. Incredible racing. Race 1 did get a bit, distance
Boring.
out, you could say. A lot of drivers getting spaced out, but yeah, boring, yeah, that's the word. But again, race 2, I think it over-delivered. The kind of expectations that we had after race 1, race 2 was absolutely stunning. So incredible racing all round, and yeah, as I mentioned previously, thank you so much, guys. It was incredible working along with you guys.
Linus,
Good stuff.
I think we can say that race number 1 was that awkward first date. Race number 2 was that second date that you hoped for.
Yeah, people getting used to the car, used to the track, just getting a feel for what they can do, and then coming out for a second go, you just go flat out and push it to the limit. You know, it's a last chance to get anything done, so you just go balls to the wall and do everything you can to get what you want. And well, at least for Guven, it turned out good.
Yep. And who knows what can happen on Friday, because literally anything can happen on Friday. There's the Friday Night Primetime intro. And we don't know what's going to happen on Friday. The drivers don't know. I'm sure there's some people at Team Redline that do know, but we, as broadcasters, don't know. Anything can happen on Friday. Last time out, Linus, it was V8 Supercars. Who knows what it's going to be this time on Friday? Linus, that's where you start talking.
Oh,
Come on. Talk!
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe rallycross cars around Martinsville sounds like a good idea. But maybe that's not what they want to do.
Sprint
So,
cars at the Nordschleifer.
that would actually be even more entertaining. If that's even doable.
Samir, any suggestions?
Oh, well. Lotus 49s around the
Bristol.
Nordschleifer. Bristol, oh, Bristol, yeah, Bristol. That should be intense.
Bristol. They won't make 2 laps. I was going to say, look, 49's around Indy, and even that's a bit of a curveball for these drivers. But you know what? Friday, anything can happen. The Team Redline guys will literally throw some balls in the air. Wherever they stick, that is what they're going to be racing at. So we hope that you join us on Friday night. We're joined by the one, the only, the Australian Megatron. That is Jonathan Simone. I'm Will Vincent. That's Samil Aura and Linus Prostrom. Thank you for being a part of Wednesday's edition of Real Racers Never Quit, a part of Team Redline. You had Max Verstappen winning race number 1, Anton Guven winning race number 2. Friday's going to be interesting. We'll see you then, shall we? Good night from Autodromo Jose Carlos Passe, and goodbye from us here at RaceBot TV.